that he had spent an hour with her. That's 60 minutes more than any of the 9 children or 3 widows got with our governor. But when the governor of your own state calls the woman who murdered your family member impressive, it's like pulling the scab off a wound that never really healed. Shame on you, Andrew Cuomo.
A lot of people unhappy after New York Governor Andrew Cuomo commuted the sentence of a getaway driver in the infamous 1981 Brinks armored truck heist. Judith Clark has served 35 years of a 75-year-to-life sentence for her role in the $1.6 million robbery that left 2 police officers and a Brinks security guard dead. Sergeant Edward O'Grady, Officer Waverly Brown, both killed as they tried to stop those getaway cars. Brinks security guard Peter Paige was shot dead during the robbery itself. His son Michael Paige was just 16 years old when this moment devastated him, and he still thinks about it every single day. Michael Paige is the son of Peter Paige. Michael, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you.
You know, you hear about these sorts of stories, but for you, this is obviously, it couldn't be more personal. What do you remember about that day and about learning what happened to your dad?
That day is by far the worst day of my entire life. I will never forget the events of that day, and that they changed all of our lives forever.
How did you find out what happened?
Well, I was your typical teenager. I was at football practice, had a great practice, was starting defensive halfback. You know, couldn't wait to get home to tell my dad what had happened that day. My neighbor's father drove me home. Stopped at the corner, though. My neighbor was also on the football team, and that's when he told me to get out of the car, and then he came over to me and told me my father had been killed. So immediately I ran from the corner back home to find my mother with our family members, friends, police officers. It was devastating.
So when you learned that Governor Cuomo wanted to give the opportunity for her to be released, that he feels that she has been rehabilitated, that she's a different person now, let's play some of what Governor Cuomo said about this.
She was a getaway driver as a young person. She didn't pull a trigger or have anything to do with the actual killing, but she was the accessory in the conviction. People who were involved in the shooting have actually been released already, and she, as the car driver, has still been in prison.
What do you think?
I think the governor has totally forgotten about the 3 men that were killed that day. For the governor to sit here and say that she was just an accessory, just a getaway driver, I don't think he knows the true facts of the case. This woman was a principal part of a terrorist organization. She was principally involved in the planning and execution of these 3 men. You know, they had a plan. She was part of that plan. And without going into all of the details of this, but the governor knows, and the governor should know, that she is just as guilty and equally as culpable of everybody that participated in that murder. If she was not there, if this part of the crime isn't there, if that part of the crime isn't there, the crime never gets committed.
Yeah.
So
when you think about, you know, the larger picture, you call her a terrorist. What were they doing? Why did they want to steal that money?
They were part of. I don't know, and I don't particularly care. I mean, from what I hear, it's part of some they call themselves revolutionaries. They were cold-blooded murderers. Let's get that straight. She was a murderer, and she is a murderer. And for the governor to turn around and to grant somebody who murdered 3 men clemency, what gives him the right to do that? I mean, this woman was tried and convicted and sentenced to 75 years to life from a judge who heard all of the evidence in the case, okay? And for the governor to now to step in and say, you know, he met with her and you know, she's done this or that, and so we're going to let her.
Has he met with you guys?
No, he hasn't met with any of us.
Do you believe in rehabilitation? Do you think, you know, because that's the argument that's being made, that she's not the same woman, that she's a changed woman, and that she, you know, deserves to live out the rest of her life? What do you think?
I think what we have to look at here is look, we're forgetting about everybody's saying she's a changed woman. She's done this, she's done that, she's trained puppies in prison, whatever she's done. What about what she did? She killed 3 men. She murdered 3 men. What is justice? The judge issued a sentence, 75 years. That's not even enough. 75 years to life. That was the sentence. She should have served her sentence. Governor Cuomo had no right to come in and basically just say, well, I think it's enough time. I've met with her. She seems impressive, was his word. You know, she seems to have done A, B, or C in prison. Well, what about all the things that my father and Officer O'Grady and Waverly Brown didn't get to do? What about all the things that they didn't get to do for 35 years? She's doing good things now? Well, if she did good things back then, these 3 men would still be alive.
She was part of an organization similar to the Weather Underground. They were, you know, obviously against the Vietnam War. They were against the United States of America, looking to pull off acts of this sort. And it's obviously a deep tragedy for your family. And do you believe that she needs to continue to serve her time? Do you think there's any chance that she'll stay in?
Well, we now, the only thing that we can do is, obviously, we have a tremendous amount of support. So hopefully the parole board is, you know, we go before the parole board now. Okay, but unfortunately, the parole board members are appointed by the governor of the state of New York. But hopefully, the parole board will have more sense than the governor does and keep this woman in prison where she belongs.
Michael, thank you very much for telling your story today. We appreciate it.
Thank
Good to see you, sir.
It's a powerful
All the best.
case.